Welcome to Deviant Witchery, where a witch can be a witch. Many, Kaylin. Okay, many have asked us what a deviant witch is, and to be honest, that really depends on the witch. It really does depend on the witch, but at our core, we are witches who do what is necessary. We are witches who follow through, who take responsibility for our work, who take responsibility for our actions. We don't pussyfoot around things. A deviant witch is, again, someone who is impeccable with their word. We we do what is necessary at all costs, and sometimes doing what is necessary is a very hard thing. It's a challenging decision. It's a challenging choice, but you still honor you still honor that, what spirit gives you. You still honor everything that flows through you, and you have to make hard choices in life sometimes. And a deviant witch is someone who does not fear. We do not allow fear to dictate us as to what we should choose, what we do in life. We are constantly engaging with each other. We are constantly learning. We're witches, and that's just what it is. Deviant witchery, deviant witches. We are fucking witches, and we don't make excuses. We do not blame other people for our misunderstandings, our lack of motivation, our lack of anything. We take responsibility again for everything that we practice, everything we put out there, and if there is something that we don't know, we make sure to find the right people to understand what needs to be understood about that topic. So again, when you ask what a deviant witch is, it's all of those things. It really is at its core a witch who follows their own code, a witch who aligns with their own integrity. They are honest, and that's it. That's so simple. That's what a deviant witch is, and you are able to make that your own. And I think that's kind of like the cool thing about it too, because every witch is going to be slightly different. We have our own different personalities. We have our own different, our skill sets. We all learn different things, and owning up to who you are, owning up to what you are, looking in the mirror and being able to say, this is me, and I share me with myself. I share me with the world, and who I share is authentic. Who I share is the real deal. And that's all different for everyone, because obviously we're different. But that's it. That's at its core what we are, what we practice, and our term. Tonight's show is on kitchen witchery and basically whatever the fuck we want to talk about. Yeah. Hearth Home is like a fucking... it is kind of like... It is an extreme, boring topic. I mean, it's really cool, and there's a lot of different aspects to it, and it's fun to to talk about like in very short spurts. But I don't know, it's just really draining. It's kind of like, it's not fun necessarily, but it's necessary. So yes, kitchen witchery. Let us talk about food. I love food, obviously.
That's the best part of Hearth Home magic. It's the food.
Mm-hmm. I just made, and it's so basic, but it's so easy, chicken soup. Like super easy to make. You just get your freaking water, throw that shit in there, you get your chicken, and all your spices. I put quite a bit of bay in there. I put like carrot, celery, garlic. I love garlic. I love garlic. But yeah, I just made like a huge batch of chicken soup, and it's super tasty. And that's like so easy to do, and it's so powerful because as I make my food, and this is like my ritual. So when I go in the kitchen and I know that I'm gonna be making a meal for someone, or if I have like the family over and I'm gonna be doing like a party, making cake and all that shit, but I go in the kitchen with intent, of course. But usually, what I'll do is, and this is just me, especially if I want to like put more power, put more essence into it, is I will first take like a ritual bath, ritual shower, and when I'm in the shower, I will focus. I'll focus on getting rid of all the shit that negative thoughts, anything that has happened during the day, depending on what time of the day it is. I'll get rid of all that. I will then, after I get rid of all that, I will focus on bringing like this elevated and this good energy. I will start like channeling memories of sometimes of the people who are going to be at my home. So I will channel memories, good memories, of course, of the people that will be there. So I'll allow that to kind of set the energy, set the intent for the whole evening, the whole day, depending on time. So I'll do that, and and then I don't towel dry, I just air dry. So I do that, get ready, go in the kitchen, and then I start, I listen, because I'm really bad. Like, I don't follow recipes. Like, I'll follow a recipe depending on the thing, but if it's like soup, I'll just throw shit together and I'll listen to what Spirit's asking me to put in. Because I love cooking, so I know to trust my instincts, and I know what needs to be put in something to make it taste really good. So I will get the pots out, I'll put the water in, do whatever I need to do, and I'll listen. I'm like, what am I going to put in here? And sometimes I just open the cupboard and I scan. And I'm like, okay, sometimes when you don't got a lot of food, sometimes you don't want to go to the grocery store because that's just too much effort. You got to look in your, cabinets and shit, and you got to get creative. But I will listen to Spirit, I will listen to my intuition, and with of course the focus of what I want to promote and put into the food. And then I will just listen, and I will go and I will get my shit. I tend to use a lot of I like spice, so like chili powder, cayenne pepper, sometimes Cajun spice, and there's this like Asian it's like Asian 5 spice or something. I don't know. Sometimes I'll use that. It's really good. Yeah, I think it's Asian 5 spice. I don't know. Asian something spice. It tastes really good. It just depends. And then I use like either like sea salt, or most of the time I'll use like pink salt, like Himalayan salt. Yeah. And I have sometimes like lentils and just different things. And I listen to whatever comes my way. And usually it's all about like promoting connection and make sure people don't fucking fight. And this is gonna sound bad. So when I finish like cooking and finish like putting my essence into there, channeling it, bringing it into the food, I kind of like program it. I'm like, okay, so these people need to go when I want them to go. Like, I don't want people over saying like, hey, when I'm done, they need to go. Like, they can stay until I'm done. So I kind of put that in there, so as they eat and stuff, they're like, oh, they're enjoying their time. But I'm like, if I'm tired, I'm like, I kind of say, to myself, to the spirits, I'm like, okay, it's time for these bitches to go. Like, get the fuck out, because I'm done. And that actually helps a lot. But yeah, I tend to, like, when I'm doing kitchen witchery, when I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking, I will program the entire space. So sometimes I'll light incense that is either Hearth and Home oriented, or let's say I want to promote like a love connection, or like I want to tap into like the family, the familial spirit. Then I might use cinnamon if I want to do more like Uh, if I'm bringing a more intimate connection, I'll do cinnamon and vanilla maybe. It just depends. But I love cooking. I love baking, so I make sure to make it like a really special occasion. I make sure to make it very, and I don't get ritualistic a lot, but I'll make it more of a ritual. You know, my hair's bugging me. So, what do y'all do in the kitchen?
Well, I guess it depends on what I'm doing and
You had
what it's
both.
for. But I take sprigs of rosemary, and I kind of like just, you know, almost like in a smudging way, but it's not lit. And I, get it on the windows, the doors, the walls. And that's just for, like, protection. And then, depending on what I'm making, it depends on what goes in there. So, say, like, Michael should know what this is. If I make holnigas, which is with meatballs and rice, the rice to me represents, like prosperity and, like success and wealth and stuff like that. So I will program the rice for that specific purpose. And then making it, I guess it depends because I've seen people and I myself have made it a couple different ways. You can use just beef broth, or you can mix that in with like tomato sauce, or you can do one or the other. It really doesn't matter. Sometimes I use the tomato sauce. So I just like the beef flavoring. And when I do that, I actually tap in to or call on that spirit of that animal that helped make that broth, and to ask them to, make it to where whoever eats it is going to be healthy and strong and, leave with prosperity and success and, stuff like that. Chicken soup, like Michael mentions, I do the same thing. I add bay, but I also use a little bit of cumin.
Yeah.
And I stir that counterclockwise at first to, if I know that any of my family is sick and that they're going to be eating this, I stir it counterclockwise first to have the sickness removed. And then I'll stop stirring it and I'll wait till it stops, stirring around by itself in the water. And then I'll start doing it clockwise to bring health to them. And when I talk what I'm cooking and stuff like that, I don't say it out loud, like where I'm like standing above the stove and stirring it. I will go down to the pot, and it's like I'm whispering into the pot.
Yeah.
And I've had some people, not my husband and kids, but other people, they'll walk in when I'm doing that. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." Just smelling it, just smelling if it smells okay. And I add like a lot of garlic, not too much though. Not to where it's overbearing, but I add a lot of garlic and a lot of salt to my soups, especially if I'm doing it for a healing purpose, to get rid of sickness, because garlic and salt, as you know, is good to cut down on illnesses and stuff like that. And I always light candles in my kitchen when I'm cooking. Especially the tall white glass encased candles. There's always one on my stove all the time.
I like that. I really like that. What was I gonna say? Because you mentioned rice, like if you're making rice, and a really cool thing that you can do, and this goes with like any food. My hair is bugging the fuck out of me. Ugh. I'm gonna put a hat on in just a second. Shit. What you can do with rice, and with beans, with anything like that. I like getting like a big mason jar, and I'll put rice in it, and I will grit it. So if I want to if I'm serving a meal and I know that we need more abundance, we need, if someone in the whoever's going to be there, they might be going through a rough time and they need help. So they might need their spirits uplifted. They might need, again, more money in their life situation. They might need their heart healed a little, or a lot. So I will take and I will get different crystals to grid the mason jar. And what I'll do sometimes, if I want to promote like a more divine connection, if someone's like really, really down, and I know there's a lot, especially during the winter months, people get depressed, people are like, if I need to make sure that we kind of elevate the situation and we pull people out, I will utilize like crystal hearts, and this is selenite. So pretty, right? Look at that, it's like so shiny. So I would use like selenite to promote that very divine essence, to promote the cosmic connection, to help bring someone out of the funk. But I have to make sure to. I don't have any with me, do I? Shit, I can use this one. I was gonna do red jasper, but black tourmaline. I'll connect that as well because this will help ground, the energies. So at the same time, while you're uplifting the energies, you're promoting like a very spiritual and a heightened awareness. So they're pulling out of their funk. You also need to make sure that they're able to bring that divine energy down so it resonates with them, and also so they can kind of like ground out the remnants of the gross, or the very lethargic, the very like the visceral essence. So I like to make sure to add a little bit of that grounding agent when I'm doing a grid, and I love using, because it's so like subtle. I think I said this last week, but I need to cut these damn nails. Shit. The things you notice when you're like live and looking at yourself. Shit. This is rose quartz. So I love using rose quartz in this as well because you're promoting that familial connection, you're promoting, that friendship and a very subtle love energy, especially like if people are going through like relationship issues. Sometimes other crystals might be too harsh, like too much at once. Rose quartz is very subtle, so you can utilize that to help release any toxic relationship issues and help promote more so like that heart connection, that love energy, without like bombarding someone, because some people know when their love shit is like not on point. They realize when they're going through challenges, they don't need that thrown in their face. So rose quartz is really, really good to not be so there's a word, it just totally went out, but to not be so like forceful. So I will do that, and what I do is I'll make a circle around like the mason jar with the rice in it, and then behind each crystal I'll put. Do I have one here? Yes, I do. I will put like a quartz to amplify it. And what I do as well is on top of the mason jar, I will put a quartz. So I push and I bring all crystals in alignment to the center, and it travels into that rice. And sometimes, if you want, you could get like a paper. Look, I'm so fucking visual today. Watch out, world. Shit, this bitch got to be organized. Okay. So you can get a paper, you can like write your, you could put the people's names on it, you could write your intentions for them, you can make it whatever you want. That's like the beauty of kitchen witchery. It's not just like throwing a recipe together and calling it good. No, you can like, you put your craft into it. So you can put that, and you can put your, you can put it on top of the mason jar with crystal, or you can put it on the bottom, just depending on how you perceive it. Some people might feel better at putting it under the bottom with this on top, and the mason jar in the middle, or they might feel better doing it this way. whatever you connect with, whatever makes sense to you, just know why it makes sense and follow through with it. So you can do that, and that totally infuses your rice or whatever you're doing. It infuses it with that influence, that power, and then you go and cook it. And that it makes it so much more powerful. It makes it like it's wonderful. It's just wonderful. It's a good day.
I like that. It's pretty awesome. I like to do a lot of healing work in the kitchen. For some reason, healing work in the kitchen just connects really well with me. For some reason, when we were kids, anytime we felt bad, Mom would always make us cream of potato soup. It wasn't chicken noodle soup, it was cream of potato soup. I don't know why. But it really does help. You think of potatoes, and they're grown in the ground. They connect well with your root chakra. They sort of ground out those energies. And I like to put a little red pepper flakes in mine because I
love red pepper flakes.
Spicy, But it helps too, especially in these months whenever everybody's suffering from like colds and you can't really taste anything, so you don't really want to eat anything, but you throw in a few red pepper flakes in that, and it's just amazing. And I'm like Scarlett. I like to have candles going. I don't really like incense going that much, or really strong smelling candles. So I like to smell when I'm cooking. Sometimes incense and what you're cooking doesn't smell too great together.
Right.
But I have, like, on my windowsill, I have a little bowl of crystals that I just like to keep in the kitchen: clear quartz, rose quartz, carnelian, things like that. I'll have it like a tiger's eye, I think I have in there. And just to, move out all the negative energies. And plus, the kitchen's sort of the heart, at least at my house, the kitchen's the heart of my home. It's not necessarily in the middle of the home, but right. This is where everybody comes. You visit. Anytime company comes over, it's always on the kitchen table. Ellie does her homework in here. It's just where we communicate, as a family. So I like to have things that keep the air and the energies and everything really positive, and pull in those positive energies and stuff. So that's what I like to do. I think I started enjoying cooking more and using magic in my cooking more when I started gardening. When I started growing all my own vegetables and herbs. Like we use raised bed gardening techniques. And one of the rule of thumb in what vegetables and herbs you can put in a bed together is whatever tastes good usually goes together. So if you are planting tomatoes, you can plant basil and oregano and peppers and all in the same bed, and they actually help each other grow. But they also taste really good together as well. And while you're growing these herbs and these vegetables, you can do a lot of magic and imbue them with a lot of positive energies while you're growing them. So, sort of inspired my witchery journey.
I like that. That's cool.
I do that, the same thing that she does. The only ones that I tend to keep by themselves is rosemary and thyme. They seem to fight, for me anyway. They do. Rosemary is a bitch. She wants her own space. Yeah. Not want to be with anyone else. And so, but then, because before, I did it once before years ago, is that I planted the rosemary and the thyme next to each other. And thyme, it's kind of like, the energy of thyme is just crazy. Mm-hmm. And it's like teased the rosemary. Like, haha, bitch, pretty much. I'm not touching you, how kids do that to each other, the siblings do that. And then Rosemary's like, look here, asshole. And, yeah, she doesn't like to be by anybody. So for me anyway, I don't know if anybody else has experienced it, but it's a good idea to keep rosemary by yourself.
For me, like I agree with that, but I've noticed like I love rosemary. Like I have a really strong connection with rosemary. I love it. I grow it all over the place. I have this big ass like rosemary like it's almost like it's a tree because it's like so high, and my huskies like to eat it. Like they bite it. So like the bottom part is all like it's a tree, and then it's all up here. It's like there's this long stem and all the rosemary's up here. It's so weird. It almost looks like one of those, is it bonsai? Like those, really weird. But the only thing that I've noticed grows really well, there's roses, like, not next to it, but quite a bit away from it. But right under it, my mint, like lemon balm, that, like, grew like nuts. Like, I'm like, where did you come from? Like, I don't remember planting you there, but it's there, and it grows huge right next to rosemary. But it's like it's interesting to see the connection because rosemary's like right there, and the lemon balm's like down here, but it grows pretty high. They're so distinct. They're so close to each other, but they're not like in each other's energy. They're not like fighting. It's just they are there. But rosemary still takes like more of a dominance in the situation. That's really interesting though that you say that.
I like to plant thyme along my pathways outside of the boxes on its own because it's like it's really pretty ground covering for one thing. You know, it'll kill any grass. And that, like I say, it has that crazy, you know, I'm going to screw with anything that I'm next to energy about it. So, yeah, I've never been able to plant thyme with anything, and it be a good thing. It's always fighting for space and pissing the other plants off to where they just don't even want to do anything.
Right. What was I going to say? Oh, so I have not read this book, but someone, I don't know who said to get it, and I don't know how, I haven't read it, so I can't say much about it, but have you read this, Supermarket Magic?
No.
It has like a lot of recipes in it, different oils, different things, timing, all this greatness. But look at the cover, it's like all food. Yum.
The cover's pretty.
I know, right?
All the color.
Have you read this one? I shared this before, but I haven't read it. But I have it. I mean to read it. What was I gonna say? Oh, I like to keep, like, when I'm doing kitchen witchery, when I'm doing magic, obviously in the kitchen, I like to keep black, obviously, I love black obsidian, you know that already, but I like keeping black obsidian, because where I am in the kitchen, like, I'm in the kitchen, there's, like, an island right here, I put that, like, right there, and it's, like, watching me, and it's, like, buffering, because when you're in the kitchen, you know, all kinds of spirits love to, like, you know, be present. There's all kinds of energies that are going around because it's the kitchen, and to me, the kitchen space is, at least for me, almost like a gateway, or like a portal, just like how I feel about the bathroom, like mirrors but that's how I feel about the kitchen when you're actually in the kitchen, you're cooking, because you start to channel different memories, you start to like bring about different feelings, and that energy just gets intensified because you're cooking and you're like, ooh, this is gonna taste good, blah blah blah. So I always like to keep black obsidian there to make sure that my connection with spirit is much like directly with spirit. I like to keep it there to protect me and to basically cut a bitch. Like if something negative comes in, this will take care of it. So this helps to kind of neutralize and balance those almost chaotic energies that might come in, while promoting like this safe and this witch essence as you do your workings. I wanted to talk about flour a little bit because flour is very interesting. in casting. It could be used for a lot of different things, and obviously you could color it in all kinds of creative ways. Um, but I like to use flour again to almost, well, obviously thicken. So you can like really use it to shut someone up, because if like they have something in their throat, you use flour to make a very thick consistency of, let's say, like a sauce or something. Make it very, very thick, and it like chokes them up. Like you can't. It's so thick, like they can't swallow. They can't do anything because it's just a very thick consistency. So I like utilizing flour that way. I just like flour.
Well, you can also use it to make like the consistency of dough.
Mm-hmm.
And if you make a poppet of any sort, you can stick them like standing in it, and that way when it hardens, it keeps them there. So like if you want to keep somebody in a certain situation or keep them from moving forward with something. So it's kind of like, I guess if you want to look at it, it's like concrete blocks.
Yes.
And
And like if you create a dough, you can totally, if you want it for love, you could add like some, some cinnamon, a little bit of allspice, even like pumpkin pie spice. Throw that shit in there. Some cloves. Put it in there, and then you can like do your little indentation, pop it in, and it's standing in this energy of love. And you can do the same thing for healing, like put all that healing, healing herbs in there, and put the poppet at center, and it's like standing in that healing essence. And eventually you could like roll it in, so like you can almost create a dome of dough around your poppet, and so that like almost acts as a rebirthing of sorts. So that's interesting. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I like using like when people are feeling bad or not necessarily sick, but just depressed, baking bread and the flour sort of raising their spirits.
Mm-hmm.
I always like doing that, and you can of course different kinds of bread. You can do pumpkin bread or cranberry orange bread is really good for lifting spirits and making someone feel a lot better, especially when they're like just in a funk, like people tend to do this time of year. It works really well, and whenever you use the flour in that, a lot of times you'll use like self-rising flour in some bread recipes and stuff like that, and I really love to sort of put that uplifting, get them out of the dumps energy in there.
Right. Another thing that you can do with kitchen witchery is utilize the tarot. You could have the Empress, the three of Cups is a good one, because it's all about celebration. Well, there's so much more it's about, but you have these three figures that are coming together, and they're celebrating, they're having fun, letting go. You could definitely utilize that. There's so many different cards that you can utilize while you're cooking, and depending on where you're gonna cook, this is what I like to do. Is I take advantage of. I love quartz. Like I love quartz like crazy. Rachel sent this to me. Super pretty.
Oh, that is pretty.
It's like, but you can. What I do is I'll get the cards, and depending on what I'm doing, if I'm working with more than one card, I will layer it. So I'll put one card in front of the other, and I'll prop it up with not this because the ship's not gonna do nothing, but like with a quartz, and I will have this bad boy like this. So this is so. Anyways, you have this energy, like it's pointing, so it's directing its energy this way, and it's going from this card to the next card, to the next card, to the next card, and it's building an energy, and it's like it's directing it towards me while I'm in the kitchen, and I can take that in, channel it, and put it into the work that I'm doing. So I make sure to do that. Like, and I don't always do it. It just depends on what I'm doing and what I need. But that's definitely something you can do. And depending on if you're cooking for a lover, if you want a divorce, and you want to make sure shit's gonna go well, you can utilize it that way too, because you're still gonna cook for this person for a little bit anyways. So there's so many different things you can utilize the cards with while you're cooking, and that's one of them. And I love doing that and I always make sure to have a crystal that's kind of pointed, that lines up and it's directing the energy towards me while I'm doing the work in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, during the holidays, I have used 2 cards. I guess not just the holidays, but like if there's like a reason for a bigger gathering and I'm cooking and stuff and people are coming over, I have used the Lovers card and the Sun card.
Oh, the Sun! Look at
the Lovers, because it doesn't just represent like a romantic love.
right.
It's family love, and stuff like that. So I put that card out just to make sure that there's love and peace in the house. And then for the Sun, I use the Sun card because it has that warm energy, and so to keep things warm and uplifted and just like nurturing, that warm feeling. And so that's what I put on when I'm cooking for a big when people are coming over.
I like that, and you could even add like strength with that, because you want to strengthen the connection, or even include like the aces, because aces are like divine blessings, like divine gifts, and each ace has its own, positive influence. But like we've been talking about this a lot lately, is like the ace is not just a beginning, but it's like a finalization. It's like an ending at the same time, but an ending in a good way, so something else can be given. So aces are like highly spiritual, and they bring this like gift, this blessing. So you can definitely add like the aces in your workings. That would be in your kitchen, workings. That I like that. Oh my gosh, I'm getting like all these different ideas. You could even you can make like if you have like an ice cube tray, you could like fill it up with water and then get like your tarot cards, your crystals, and you can infuse the water with something. Then you freeze it, and you have those little ice cubes. And you could even get crazy and put some like essential oils in them, or you could put like little some herbs, even berries. Have fun with it. Like, oh, that's so. I'm gonna do that. I just like when we were talking about that, I'm like, oh, the freezer, oh, ice. That would be fun because then you can serve drinks, and people love ice. Most people love ice, or a couple, in their drinks to keep it cool, and like with lemonade too. And lemonade would be really good to. Lemonade's interesting because you can do it to bring people together, but you could also do it to like cleanse a space. Like if you know someone is like a very bad influence, this could be for like parents, or their daughter, their son is dating some dumbass, they don't like them. They could charge this lemonade to kind of protect everyone, cleanse everyone, while it's like directed at the person they want gone. So they could utilize like lemonade and serve it to kind of like target the individual they want gone, so to be banished, to kind of sting them and let their true colors be known, and boom, you're gone. You're not good enough for my kid. So shit. Fuck off.
You can also add mint to your ice cubes when you're serving that too. That would help knock them away, banish bad vibe stuff.
I like that.
Frozen berries too. Like if you just get frozen berries in the frozen food section that just come in a bag,
Mm-hmm.
Sort of charge those with a lot of really nice, fun energies, and put them in and make sangria.
I love sangria.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that totally. I'm like, I
That can
haven't
be
had a drink in
really
a long
fun.
time. I love me some sangria.
Too.
Um,
Oh, and the Ten of Cups card is really good for having a lot of family over.
yes, yes. Another like on the topic of berries, like blueberry is really good. Like you can utilize blueberry for protection. Um, and blackberries blackberries are really good if you want like a more intimate setting, and you can utilize blackberries for like sexual energies, and blackberries, like any berry really, they sting. Like they're like blackberries seem to be like the worst for me. Like they're just fucking rude. They like you get that shit on you and it's not coming off. Like so that it sticks. So if you want something to really stick and kind of like make an impression and like kind of root, you could utilize like blackberries, or any berry really. But for some reason, uh, yeah, blackberries are what come to mind when something like just sticks. And so I guess I'm like totally rambling, but you could kind of utilize blackberries in fertility magic. I don't need to explain that, right? I hope not.
Not to me.
Okay. I hope not. But it's fun and uh,
And
there's just
raspberries have just a fun energy. I mean, they have, a love energy, but raspberries, they are really fun to me.
yeah. Obviously, what was I gonna say? Oh, and you could get like cherries and infuse like vodka. No, you can utilize cherries again for love and for a connection to like love essence, love deities. So if you want to bring that into the workings that you do, cherries are great. And for some reason, the scene in Witches of Eastwick totally just popped in my head. Yeah, true story. Why is why is Scarlet like all? Ah. Oh my! Oh my gosh! You could use y'all quiet over there. I'll be rambling up a fucking storm. Um, Asparagus can be used obviously for like a phallic connection, but I like to use asparagus like to curse because when you eat asparagus, your piss stinks for oh, it's gross. Like it's gross. It stays in your system. It's just gross. It's just gross. I'm not gonna lie. It's the truth. So you could utilize asparagus to curse someone because, and oh, that's so mean. Be- It must be my Mexican ancestry that's coming through because we're talking about piss and that's just gross. So asparagus has like a very distinct energy about it, and it makes you obviously it makes you smell. So you can utilize that to give someone like that asparagus scent, like curse them with that. That would suck, especially if it's like a lover that scorned you, like fucked you over. Wouldn't that be good? Because then they're trying to get with someone else and they smell like asparagus, like piss. That's wrong. I'm just saying, possible. Don't judge me. What? Y'all are mean. Picking on me on. Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to think of.
Your asparagus thing, you can like maybe drizzle honey on something. That way, honey makes shit stick. make it sticky.
That's funny. That's. I'm getting so many good ideas over here.
What the fuck are y'all talking about?
We are talking about kitchen and how you can utilize different kitchen witchery things for all sorts of things. Thank you.
Well, that is a very vague topic. Okay. I'm gonna stay over here still. 'Cause I can...
Is there anything in the kitchen that you like to do that's magical?
Make a damn good vodka sauce.
What?
No, I do kitchen witchery. I do. Everything I cook has got some sort of fucking working with it.
Well,
For
it's
some
because
fucking
you're a
reason,
witch.
I just can't resist to like enchant food because it's easy to enchant.
I know, right? It is. Now I'm like, now I'm hungry.
Asparagus is gross. I mean, it tastes really good, but it's gross.
I know.
You know what stinks? There's a gas. There's a chemical that turns to a gas once it gets cool, and while it's inside your body, it doesn't smell. But when it hits water, it cools down instantly, and the gas is released. It's disgusting.
Yeah, that's kind of
gas
gross.
that you're smelling. And I used to know the technical name, but I haven't been in chemistry in like forever, so.
You know what I want now? I want cinnamon rolls. Mm.
Oh, cinnamon rolls are sexy.
I know. And for some reason, they just popped into my head. I want cinnamon rolls. And if y'all can't figure out what you could utilize cinnamon rolls for, shoot. You need to
I can think of like really nasty things to do with cinnamon rolls.
like
So that should just tell you right there what to utilize cinnamon rolls for.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's just there's so much that you can do. I love utilizing and what sometimes like when I'm making soup, I'll add a little bit of cocoa powder to my soup. Mexican. I know.
They
But
love
cocoa
cocoa powder.
What?
They love cocoa powder.
Yeah, of course. Anyway,
Mole is
it's just
deliciously
super...
spicy, savory chocolate. It's like made by the gods. It really is because it makes no sense, but it's delicious.
Yes.
And that shit is evil. Mole is evil.
What do you mean? It can be.
You can work that shit up to really nasty purposes. Nasty, not like nasty, like good nasty, but like nasty, like hexing nasty. Because chocolate has cocoa powder in general is more negative than it is positive as a magical use, I should say. I mean, who doesn't like cocoa powder to eat? But it's got a dark soul, which is why I like it even more.
It does. It truly does. I love cocoa powder. I love using it. I use it a lot in. I use it a lot in protective workings, but more so when I create malediction items, I will utilize cocoa powder to sort of dust the products, to charge them. Sometimes it's in the blend because my connection with it, like you said, is very deep. It's very... I just like it. It has this very, like, mischievous, like, very, it's very naughty. Like, not in a... It's just, yeah. I don't even know how to explain it. It's fun to work with. And that's, like, and that's kind of what I suggest everyone to do. Like, look at if you don't already, you need to, like, look at your kitchen as another, like, almost like an altar space, because you're in that kitchen, you're creating food that is going in your body and other people's bodies, so you want to create it. You're a witch. You live it. You better be living it. If you don't live your witchcraft, then what are you? You're not witching. So, so when you're in your kitchen, when you're cooking, when you're preparing meals, it's all an extension of your craft. It's all an extension of the witch because you are a witch doing all these things. This is your life. So when you are cooking, start getting to know like the items that you use. Start getting to, and this is kind of sounds this can't fucking talk. This is gonna sound kind of weird, but I have a lot of like cast iron, you know, and I have a lot of different pots and pans and stuff. But I kind of like connect with those as well because I use them a lot. So I'm working with them a lot, and so when we do different things, it's like hello, Mr. Skillet. But so yeah, you have to get to know the energy that is in your kitchen. You have to get to know all the different, why you're going to use a carrot instead of this, or why you chose to do this instead of this. Get to know the ingredients. Get to know all these different things, which means you have to develop your psychic senses. You are a witch, therefore you should be psychic. Therefore you should be developing this part of you. That means go to school, educate, learn, practice. But by tapping into these energies, these frequencies, you are able to perfect your craft. That's what I gotta say.
I love cast iron. I love cooking with it. I love everything. I mean, that's pretty much all I use. Is cast iron skillets. They're the best to me. They have a great, protective energy, and you clean them like I clean mine soft, like coarse.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to put soap or anything on them. And I don't know. I just love everything about them. I love the way they cook, and I love the energies that just surround them.
I like because every piece of cast iron it has a story because it absorbs the energy of what it takes in. It is strengthened every time. It only takes in what makes it more powerful.
That's kind of how I view.
Which is awesome.
That's how I view my decks, my tarot cards. And you're absolutely correct. Like that's kind of why I love cast iron, because you can touch it and you can feel that story. You can feel that energy. So like automatically when you come in contact with cast iron, like the perfect, like what it would be good for, like what kind of meals and the different things that you could utilize it for. So that's, I don't know, I just love it.
And I love how you say that it's protective, Melissa, because obviously iron is one of the most protective of all metals. But sorry, I just got like a flash of like Medea hitting somebody.
Me too. I totally saw that. I got that.
That's hilarious.
And like every family has a story about their crazy aunt or grandma or something that beat their husband with a cast iron skillet.
Grandma.
Oh my.
And like I also don't get, because you develop a relationship with your main cooking utensils.
Right.
And cast iron, if you take care of it, will last you until your grandkids are having grandkids. Like a lot of the cast iron utensils in our family have been passed on. My great grandma was using them. Now my grandma's using them. My mama uses them, and then I'll use them. And they're like one of those things. I mean, that you just can't take away from it. It's like a recipe book. A recipe book is like a kitchen grimoire. It's like they're passed down from generation after generation. They have these magical meals that essentially make you, they take you to the past. They take you to a place of comfort. They take you to a place of remembrance, and that has a lot of power. And that's sort of the energy that a cast iron pan has. Any cast iron utensil, for that matter.
Oh yeah, when my grandmother passed away, I think all of us grandkids pretty much fought for the rights to the cast iron skillets, and the recipe book. Those are like they get no one like really put up the house, like furniture. It was the cast iron skillets recipe book, and I got that.
Damn right.
And did y'all's grandma like teach you? I remember that moment in the kitchen with my grandmother where she taught me how to treat a cast iron pan.
Yes.
So when you wash it, you can't just wash it and like put it up. You got to condition it. So you have to
Speaking
put
of
my girl
Granny,
uses olive oil, but back in the day she used lard, and she would
Right.
take a little dab of lard on like a cloth and just baby the shit out of her cast iron. So it always was greased. It was always ready to use.
you know,
Not that she didn't put grease in everything, because she did, but you don't really need to in a well-conditioned pan.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could pull out a cast iron skillet right now, and it's like shiny. And
yeah.
that's the bottom. I mean, it's just a permanent sheen now.
Yeah, it's awesome. I was thinking of money workings. I love a kitchen. I love kitchen witchery for money. A good soup is. Um, do you guys ever cook wonton soup? Like I like Asian stuff a lot of times. So a good wonton soup is excellent for money draw, because in a good Asian dish you add those spices that are so good for money draw. You add that cinnamon, you add that allspice. Um, you use Asian five spice a lot of the times, and
That's
that's
it.
really good for
That's
money
it.
draw.
I knew it. I was talking about.
What five spice? Asian five spice?
Yes, I was talking about that earlier.
And and curry for that matter. So if you want to go a little Indian, curry is great for money draw. Curry is also good for like protection, but basically because if you really don't want to like have anybody come near you, just dab on a little curry, because
You
it's like a
can.
deflect. It makes people not want to be near you.
Yeah.
Which is gross in a way, but hey, it works or whatever. But a good wonton soup recipe is, chicken stock. I love chicken stock because that has that, I don't know, that essence of abundance in it. Because if you had chickens, you were abundant. You were that they have that energy to them. You take care of them, they take care of you. They constantly feed you and all you have to do is nurture them, make sure they're taken care of, and they supply for you. So anything chicken related in that way is great. And because I'm not a real big pork fan, I use chicken wontons as well. And I'll mix the five spice in there, and I will, talk to the spirits of the herbs and add that money draw, and I just cook it. And you add the wontons kind of last minute until they float. So you have steeped this stock all day, and you can even do it in like your crock pot, and regularly go over there, and you need to imbue it, you need to talk to it, you need to baby it, you need to talk to this spirit, create it. You're creating this, you're birthing it into existence, and that's what you do. You baby this food, and I'm a big food babier anyway. That's why I don't like baking, because unless you're baking bread, because that's a whole other thing, which I love baking bread too. So, but then at the very end, which is really like the kicker for my wonton soup, I add spinach, which I love spinach because obviously it's green. It's anything with tons of like chlorophyll in it is a lot. It's really good for and representative of money.
Mhm.
I wouldn't really call this like a prosperity spell or a prosperity soup, but I would call it a money soup. And then after you let that in, you can take a big old handful of spinach because it like instantly wilts and it instantly gets like ready to eat. And then you take like fresh basil leaves and you just plow that shit in there because I like basil. So if you don't like basil, maybe use something different. But and then you eat that shit and you attract money while you eat it. So that's good. And we in the South are big money, prosperity, abundant workers. Just because a lot of our economy and a lot of our lifestyles depend on making this money. We're a farming community, so you have to have one to have the other. You know, you can't work on your crops if you don't have the money to supply the equipment. So every like the first of the year, like New Year's Day, we eat collards and black-eyed peas because it attracts that abundance and it attracts that thing. We used to say that the collards were for green bills and the black-eyed peas were for coins. And you got to add some cornbread and some honey just because, you know, maybe a little side of meat or something. But, you know.
We're always told you had to leave a little bit on your plate. You couldn't like, eat it all. You had to like leave a little bit. I don't know why, but my grandmother always told us that. They're like, don't. She's like, don't eat all that. Those collards. Don't eat all that black-eyed peas. Leave a few. I don't know why.
You know what? Those Ozarkians down there, Melissa, you know they're steeped in like fairy lore, so it could have been for the spirits. It could have been for the fairies. So
I guess so. That makes sense. She never explained why. She would just tell us, don't you dare finish. And if we did, she'd give us more and be like, okay, now eat some of that and leave the rest.
Yep. That's a nice thing to do anyway. I always was convinced that my sister had a really, like, svelte body her whole life because she never finished her food. Like, she never finished her plate. She used to get in so much trouble because, like, back in the day, you didn't finish your plate, then you were ungrateful and you were, like, a little asshole kid. So my dad would literally make her stay at the table for hours on end, and I would go there and, like, she would slip me food, which is why I think I got fat. But, like, but she always left food. And, like, still to this day, she does not eat the last bite of anything she eats, period. And it's just, like, it's just her thing. I don't know if there's a reason behind it, what her psyche is telling her, but she never does.
Cha-ching!
Nice.
Okay, so we have to come to a close because we're doing our members only video right now. Yeah. So I hope you all had a good experience. Comment in the video below. Anything that you want to share, you liked, do a video response on something that is important to you in regards to your kitchen witchery. Is there something specific that you do that you want to share? Definitely share that with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Invite your friends because when we hit 1,200 subscribers, we're doing a giveaway. And I like giving shit away, so it's not going to be like cheap. I don't do that. But yes, we're going to move on to our members only section and our members only video. If you haven't subscribed, we'll put that in the link below. Definitely subscribe. We have a watch off where we get a little more personal. We share a lot more. There's just so much perks to becoming a subscribed member that it's awesome. Is there anything else that y'all would like to say before we close up? No? Alrighty. Well, y'all have a good night.